Well, cadetship, I suppose, is something that I look back on my career in this industry, and I hope I've got a long way to go still. But I'll just take you back a bit. I brought up in Essendon, went to school at Nidri Tech, and at a young age I worked out that I needed money. So with that I used to pump gas at service stations and a couple of bike rounds, doing papers and working at the Essendon Football Club, doing anything I could do to get a buck. In those early times in Keilor Road Nidri, which was actually the main corridor out of Melbourne, of course we didn't have things like freeways in those days. There was an Ampol service station up there, and there was a guy by the name of Lindsay Ellis, a 64 Mac, and he worked for a company called Hartridge, which became Cubico. Now, Lindsay's job in those days was to take a load of Holden spare parts to Townsville. And I was very fortunate as a young guy to do a trip with him. He loaded the truck out at Hartridge, out at General Motors in Dandenong. We went to a place in Griffith called Tarbogan, and we took the load off. I think we put about 16 tonne of grog underneath it. We put the load back on it again, because that's what you did in those days. You broke every law in the book. Of course, all the roads were gravel that we went on, and it took the full school holidays to do the trip. And one of the funny stories was, and I will share this with people, in those days fridge vans were quite small, what you compared to dump refrigerated trailers. And we went through this creek crossing, and believe it or not, a young crocodile got caught in the front of the truck when he came out through this creek crossing. So the driver thought it'd be a bit of a lark, so he threw the poor old dead croc in the back of the van. But the only trouble was he wasn't dead. Of course, when he got to his destination, opened the doors, guess what flew out the back of the van? Croc. So that was my first look at road transport, and I'm a very, very fortunate person because I wake up every day and love what I do. I still love transport, I love the people. Through my time in transport, through workshops and learning how to drive, went through different types of modes in transport, from fruit, refrigerated trailers, tankers, express freight, container. We had our own container business there for a while. So it's a great thing because I guess I'm very fortunate. I don't know if I do it now, but I used to live to work. So I had the passion when I used to get up every morning or work all night and love what I do. For the young people getting into transport today, in any part of it, the world's your oyster. It's basically recession-proof. There's always going to be trucks to move freight. Simple as that. There's always going to be trains to move freight, planes. No matter how bad things get, there will be always freight. It's where you can go to. If you'd adapt a real attitude and you want to learn and you want to be the best of the best, you want to be better than anyone else, there's an old saying in life, it's called the 1 in 1,000 rule. Now, I hope some of you kids here are the 1 in 1,000 because you'll be like me, because I'm not supposed to make it in life. Little boy from Essendon, played football for Aberfeldy, hang around the Essendon Football Club, pumping gas. The youngest of 3 boys, probably the wildest, that's probably fair to say. But because my passion was so hard and I wanted it more than anyone else, I wanted to be successful more than anyone else. I wanted to be the best at whatever I did. I don't know where that come from, but I did. I wanted to be the best owner driver. I wanted to have the best maintained trucks. And you've got to learn all the things you're going to learn at the moment is about a whole bunch of things. Financing, insurance, wages, payroll, negotiating contracts. And there's an old thing in life I always live by, you don't get what you deserve in life, you get what you negotiate. And that too you will find when you go to work. You know, if you stand out above everyone else, you will go forward. And it is a great industry, great bunch of characters, and very enjoyable to be in. Where are we today? Well, I was very fortunate back in the 1980, my wife Christine, which I honestly couldn't be here without her. We've been a great team over the years. My wife was a legal secretary and had her own business for many, many years in Melbourne. We had our own fridge van, and I started hauling some backloads for this company called Multi-Group Distribution Services, owned by a bloke called Greg Poach. Now that company became Star Trek Express many years later, and we originally had 4 trucks in there, which developed into 6, today it's 64, mostly all B-doubles, and we employ around about 80 people, and we have depots in 3 states, and it is successful. Even today, we've negotiated a good deal over the years. We do other work as well, by the way. That's not our only contract, but we have all GPS navigation on our trucks. Like everyone else, we negotiate a good deal. Our drivers, they don't unload a load, they're strictly doctored drivers. And of course, in that, when you create a business, you have a whole bunch of other things. We have in-house accountants, we have people that do all our OH&S. And both my daughters have worked through the business as they've been growing up to make sure that they earned their way. So our eldest daughter now is a lawyer and our youngest one's a journalist. So one gets me out of trouble and one talks about me too much. So our business today is still growing. There's a lot of opportunities out there at the moment. You know, that, as I say, even though some people will go out of business that are highly geared under this economic times, there'll be opportunities well to get through. So, and we train apprentices all the time. Our OH&S guy, we've trained from a kid out on the truck wash who wanted to go go forward. And at the moment, I've got a young American kid working for us whose parents have migrated to Australia, and he wants to go forward. So we'll work with him as he grows up. And some of our apprentices over the years, over the last 27 years, today, some of them got their own trucks, some of them work in the mines. One of them actually runs one of the mines over in Western Australia. And they're great kids, and they've all gone forward and been very, very successful in their own right, which is great to see. So for you guys, it really is what you want to make of it. There's no magic wand. There's no silver bullet to it. It's work, understanding, and when you don't grasp something, ask and ask and ask and ask till you've got it. And then, you know, as I say, if you work to live, I don't think anyone really gets there in life. You've got to live to work. Once you get to my age, you can sort of flip around a bit. But when you're young, give it a red-hot go, and I think you'll be well rewarded.